It is rare for me to give a game a 10 out of 10, and I think I could safely say that Nobody Wants to Die landed a perfect score for me, despite the fact that it's super short. The reason for it being is I'm a big fan of narrative storytelling, and this game is one of the best narrative storytelling experiences I've had in a game in a while. Like, it's not epic in scope, it's short, it's condensed, but it reminded me a lot of Altered Carbon on Netflix, which I absolutely loved. Still need to read those books because the show was absolutely phenomenal. A lot of cool stuff here. I am going to spoil the story a little bit in this final review. So if you haven't played the game yet and you're okay with the story being spoiled, cool. If not, I would say wait to watch the review until after you've played the game. You know enough now that I'm telling you, I think it's cool. It's totally worth it. It's a low cost point. It's a fun game if you like narrative storytelling. But there's no combat. It's kind of like a walking sim, and some people don't like walking sims. Or if you think about it like an old point-and-click adventure game, it's a lot like that. So anyway, we're going to dive into the review portion now. You've been warned. Spoilers ahead. Let's go. So, I think the first thing I really liked about this out of the gate was the fact that it was a really unique way to do a noir detective story. Setting it in a futuristic, kind of Blade Runner-esque New York City, where we're a few hundred years after they have basically figured out how to transfer consciousness from one body to another. And at the core of this game, because it is short, I completed it in just over 5 hours, like right around 5.5 hours. Now, I've heard people being able to get 10 to 12 if they did everything and just really took their time, but I didn't dive into every single little nook and cranny I could have for dialogue purposes. I just kind of took the streamlined path through the main storyline and had a lot of fun doing so. The replayability is one of the things that sort of pushed this from like an 8.5 to a 10 for me, because there's no quick save and quick load function here. So as you go through the game, whatever decisions you make, that's it. Like, you're unlocking paths and story decisions and things that affect the outcome of the game. There are multiple endings to be had, and it is short enough that I could see myself going through again really easily in another 5 to 6 hours. Take 1 or 2 days just to go through again to see a different conversation path and to get a different ending. But I was generally pleased with that aspect of it alone was enough to make me go, okay, this is a 10 out of 10 for me because of that replayability. It is a walking sim, and there are some puzzles, but for the most part, the way this works is you are a detective, and this is where I think for me the depth of the lore that they created for the world really shines through when you look at the little things that are going on behind the scenes apart from the main story. So they can transfer consciousness. There is a federal law in place that says everyone from the age of 21 and over has to register their body to be used for someone else at some point down the road. And when you die, the government holds these lotteries and these auctions, and you can bid on bodies. And if you win the bid, then you get to use that body and transfer your consciousness. But it's all about money and taxes at the end of the day. And part of what's going on behind the scenes is this basically group of really rich, wealthy individuals who are the, chief of police and these politicians and everybody else, the people who write the policies, who are trying to lower the age of automatic entry into the system down to, I think it was 19 or 20. And the thing is like, if you can't afford to pay for a body, your brain gets stuck into this thing called a bank where you just go into storage. By the way, that was the ending I got. There are multiple endings, but my ending was I didn't make it and I got sent into storage, and that was it. It was an interesting ending for my story. I'm assuming it's one of the bad endings. I could be wrong, but it was one of the ones where basically my character died, and got sent off to the bank. Anyway, that's all going behind the scenes. The detective basically he just signed a 100-year contract. He used to be a baseball player, and now he's a detective. He signed a 100-year contract to be a minimum wage slave for the government in exchange for the body he's in. And he's out doing stuff, and we come to find out through the story is that he was at the heart of this train wreck that happened a few weeks ago, and caused a lot of deaths, and he's been put on leave essentially, and he gets pulled out of the leave to work under the books on this murder case, which is this thing that the chief of police wants hush-hushed. So he's like giving it to our detective, giving like, this is kind of dirty cop stuff, like corrupt cop stuff. We're going to go in here, we're going to take this body, we're going to get the guy's brain, and we're going to take it out like unofficially under the books, and we're going to make that guy happy, and in result everybody's going to be happy, you're going to get a promotion, we're going to win as a police force, etc. Well, this is where the plot thickens, because as you go to discover the murder, you get into the heart of what this game really is, which is you have tools which you can use to solve crime scenes. And there is a tool that allows you to basically create a moment in time. It's a few seconds before and a few seconds after an event, and that's circled around facts that you find and things you analyze, which, I find a cup, and then I focus on the cup, and then now I can see what happened to the cup a few seconds before and a few seconds after, because of the facts that I've gathered. And so I can see that using this machine, which reminded me a lot of like the brain dance stuff you could do in Cyberpunk 2077. Because you go into this like holograph world, and then you analyze more clues, and you follow the trail of evidence through the crime scenes until you reach a resolution to that scene. Then you will eventually wind up back at like your apartment or somewhere, where you will then take all of those clues and need to assemble them on a floorboard, like a floor on the floor on like a pattern, kind of like if you do it on the wall, but they choose to do it on the floor. You'll assemble all those clues to come to a hypothesis, which will advance the story further forward. So there is the manipulation of tools. There's an X-ray machine. Things there's a blood spatter machine. Things that a black light. You can follow patterns. You can follow wires in the wall. All of these things are in the crime scene. And then when you get back home to the apartment, you have the thing on the floor, and it looks like little chess pieces, but it's like wine bottles and other stuff that you use to like hold down postcards and notes and stuff. But you come up with those theories, and then you move the story forward. There's conversation choices everywhere in this game, and I would say probably it felt like about 30% of them, maybe more, are related to story choices. So it'll tell you like you've impacted the story in some way, and it'll unlock certain other additional dialogue options that you can have on your way through the game. That's the core of the gameplay. And the core of the story is solving the death of this individual. And then that gets into this whole deeper subplot, which I'm not going to spoil entirely, which is why I said at the beginning there will be some spoilers, but not completely. Because I do want you to play the game, or go watch my Let's Play series that I did. It was only like 10 episodes long. It was, again, 5.5 hours, very short. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload, or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. The story that I got led to a conclusion which saw my character getting put in the bank. There are multiple endings to this game, which is cool. And I think the coolest part for me was, like, you're dealing with him having mental issues with the stability of the synchronization between the body and the brain. And that's portrayed very well in a visual and narrative format. And one of the things that like you had the choice to do and was whether or not you have him become like a heavy drinker during all of this. And I opted to have him become a heavy drinker because I thought it fit the noir detective trope in my head, because he's already a heavy smoker. So it's like, and it's because the body he's in was like a 40-some-year-old body, and that's the one he was given, and for the police force. And it's riddled with addiction, so it's addicted to cigarettes and drugs and other stuff, and so he has to feed that addiction as part of, even while he's a police officer. It's a really interesting story at the core. Visually, this game is breathtaking. I really liked the art style. It looked great on the PS5. I played it in performance, not performance mode, the optimal visual mode, like visual mode. They have an option for performance mode, but I didn't see a need to use it because this isn't there's no combat in this game. There's no shooting, nothing. So it's all just very slow, methodical, move around scenes, do dialogue choices. So I just kept it on the highest fidelity settings of the PS5, and it looked absolutely amazing. Had a great time with this game. Again, super short. I know that's a thing for some people. It's like $25. I got it for 23 because I have a discount. So for 25 bucks, I don't think it's a bad deal to go play a really cool indie game that can give you, I would argue, let's say 6 to 10 hours of entertainment, depending on your mileage, but then replayability after that, because you can go in and complete different conversation options to see, like, do I go bad guy this time? Do I go good guy this time? Do I hide up the evidence here? Do I show the evidence here? Do I turn on this person? Do I follow this person? Like, there's all these options you can take, and because you can't scum load, you can't go back and change those things. So the replayability takes this from being just a simple 5 to 10 hour game to being something where if you want to play it 3 or 4 different times to get all the different endings, you're looking at 40 hours of gameplay, which I think is what a lot of people will do who love the cinematic narrative point and click story adventure style of gameplay here. The writing is top notch. The voiceovers are really good. Had a great time with this title. Again, 10 out of 10 from me. It's very rare for me to do that here on a channel, especially if it was a game that many people would look at and go, but it's only 5 to 10 hours of gameplay. There's a lot of factors beyond just that simple fact. So hopefully you'll dive in. I liked it. I play lots of games, so make sure to follow along here and on Twitch. I stream every single day. There's a Discord and a Patreon and all the socials, so you can get involved where you want. See you in the next one, everybody. Stay safe and happy gaming.